welcome back to another episode of the Gamecast Release Radar. I am Snowy, otherwise known as Count Fracula, and we're going to go through some of the week's releases, and it'll be things that are interesting, you might have missed, you might not have missed, but they're all definitely worth a look. We'll start today with the only early access title on this list, and it is called Tracks. Now, for those of you who are about my age, if not a little bit older, you will remember being young and having it's a train set made out of wood. And it was all the tracks were wood, and you could get them all, put them together, they fit together like jigsaw pieces into a lovely track like that. It was basically your baby's first Hornby set, and they were amazing, although I had a slightly different set, which was Thomas the Tank Engine themed, and it wasn't wood, but it's the same principle. If you happen to have enjoyed these kinds of things and would like some more, even though you're a grown-ass adult like I am, then you will enjoy this game. It is basically just a huge set of this, and you can do basically whatever you like with it. Make a track as long or as ridiculous as you like. You can even make it so that the train jumps off one track and lands on another. That's how amazingly well done this simulation is. You can add buildings, trees, loads of different types of scenery to the game. Just make it look however you want. You can have your own little model town or your own little demolition tool with trains, if that's what you want to do. And there's also little challenges, I think, coming. And there's also the option to have it themed, have the background and everything themed on rooms, so you can literally play in a living room. So that's all pretty damn cool. As I said, it's in early access at the moment. It costs £6.29 until the 5th of October, at which point it'll cost £6.99. And I definitely think it is worth a look. I'm hoping this game goes on to be a full release soon. The next game I'm going to talk about is called Hob. And the ways to describe this are numerous, but I will stick with, I don't know, there's a lot of platforming involved. There's some combat that looks very, not Soulsy, but in that sort of vein. It doesn't look like difficult Souls, it looks like it's inspired in that sort of area, the sort of blocking, teleporting, dodge rolling, whatever you want to deal with that, and loads of puzzle type things, a bit like things like Jotun and all that kind of thing. It looks like a very interesting title, that's for sure. It's certainly beautiful. The only thing that puts me off buying it is the price. It is priced at $14.99, which is about $20, which is, for me, slightly too high. I might be more amicable at $12.99. That's just my opinion on it. But at the same time, from what I've seen of this game, it looks pretty damn interesting. And if you can deal with the price, it's definitely worth your time. On to a game that I know is definitely worth your time, Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic. Now, this isn't just like the standard direct ports of Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 that you can get on Good Old Games and even Steam. This is basically a remaster of the first Roller Coaster Tycoon game, and it was actually remastered by Chris Sawyer, the guy who made the original Roller Coaster Tycoon. He made the whole game himself, and now he's remastered it. They had released it on phones, on mobile phone, not too long ago for not a lot of money, and I ended up buying that actually. And now it has come to PC. Basically, this game is a classic, and they've just sort of tweaked with it a little bit, made it a bit, you don't have to sort of jig around with it to get it to run properly, because even the version on Good Old Games, it will run properly, but you'll have quite a few issues when it comes to things like resolution. There's no option, there's no sensible options for modern resolutions, whereas this will have that. So basically, it's just Roller Coaster Tycoon, but, you know, zhuzhed up, just made to work properly. The cost is, again, $14.99. Not entirely sure if I'd pay that personally, but it is the classic Roller Coaster Tycoon, it's the classic theme park game. probably one of the best. So if you've not experienced it before and you don't have the original or things like Planet Coaster, I might recommend getting this over the original straight port. Next up is a game called Ruiner, which is basically, I don't know, it's like Blade Runner, but more cyberpunk, if you can believe that. The aesthetic of a lot of the environments is what makes me think of Blade Runner. It's published by Devolver Digital, which is always a good sign, and it's got very positive reviews, a very violent sort of, not hack and slash, but certainly it's very combat involved and very, very violent apparently. From what I can tell, top-down perspective, a lot of running and gunning. It just looks absolutely gorgeous. Got a little bit of the sort of, not visual novel, but JRPG cutscene issues where you're just sort of talking to a drawing comes up of a character and then it has text underneath it. But other than that, definitely looks like a slick game, definitely worth your time. At £15 again. That seems to be a running theme this week. And finally, again at £15, the game I will talk about to death if I get the chance. Not here though, Cuphead. Now, a lot of you might not have missed this release. It's probably the biggest release on my list today, but I just wanted to talk about it because I bought it and I've played it, and oh my god, is it good. So for those of you who don't know, Cuphead was originally sort of revealed to the public at E3 2015, which was the first one I actually watched live, where it was marketed as a boss rush game and in the style of a 1930s Disney cartoon. Then in 2016's E3, it was again given a trailer, but this time it seemed to have changed its tack a little bit to be more platformer and that kind of sort of workaround, that kind of style game. This was a change that I wasn't personally a huge fan of because I can just take all these platformers, and the original boss rush idea really appealed to me. And it seems that in the final release, Cuphead has sort of gone as a hybrid between the two. The game is level-based with an open hub, and some of the levels are platformer-style-y things, and some of the levels, or in fact most of the levels that I've certainly played, are literally just the bosses, multi-stage bosses. Very, very well animated. Everything in this game looks absolutely fantastic. It's like even the sound design is amazing. Plays really nicely. There's a lot of sort of the Twitch control style about it. You really need to be on your toes with all the levels, otherwise you will get absolutely ruined. You have only 3 health points, and that can only be upgraded with a charm, to the best of my knowledge so far. And if you're not careful, you're going to have a hard time, but at the same time, that's what makes the eventual victory all the more rewarding. So that is it for this episode of the Gamecast Release Radar. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a like, a subscribe, or a share, whatever you fancy. And our social links are down in the description, along with a link to our Discord. If you have any comments on this video or have any other releases you'd like me to see and cover, then please message me in the Discord. That's the best place to find me. If you want to find me outside of that, though, I can be found on Twitch at twitch.tv/metalnerddude. I can also be found on Twitter at @SnowyDuffield. That is it from me and the Release Radar for this week, and I will see you next week, where we will have more games that are definitely worth talking about.